everybody. It's me, Tracy Pinkhammer, Mebane. Good evening. So today we will be speaking with Helene Greenberg. She is the founder of, she's the executive director of the Triangle Veggie Fest and the founder. We're going to speak vegan today because one of the things about being an entrepreneur is we want to talk about health, and the way you eat will definitely decide how your body responds to the level of stress that entrepreneurs are under every single day. So I just wanted to give you guys some options. I know that people are starting to cross over. It is a big movement out here in the world on being a vegan, and I just want you guys to hear some great information from someone who is very knowledgeable. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce you to my friend, Helene. Helene, come on.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just sharing this to my page.
Okay.
To get it all done, I got it shared, so that's awesome. So it's out there, and hopefully people will watch. So thanks, Tracy. We've known each other a while now.
Yeah, I can't believe, and it goes by so fast.
It does. I mean, I am guessing it's got to be close to 10 years, 9 years probably. Yeah, I've been in North Carolina for 10 plus, so I'm pretty sure I met you. It's probably 8
Yeah,
years.
because Jonathan was little. He's 26 now, so he was. Remember how small he was when you met him?
No.
My son, I think we came up to your house one time for something. I can't remember, but yeah. And then we have a mutual friend, Mark. So that's, I'm still friends with him.
Yep, me too. His birthday's coming up. His birthday will be later in January. He's a January baby. So, all right, very cool. So, I'm excited. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. And anytime I get to talk about veganism, I'm a fan, especially to people that aren't. So, to give them reasons as to why they might want to, and you want to incorporate that into being an entrepreneur and the stress of being an entrepreneur.
Right.
And, part of having stress is it could make you sick. And one of the ways to alleviate possibly getting sick is what you fuel your body with. And when you fuel your body with good food, not like chocolate and cake, good food. I mean, like healthy plant-based foods, then you'd be amazed at how much more energy that you'd have.
So that's where we're at right now. This is what we're trying to get people to cross over from the dark side. So, I know that I am not vegan right now, but I have been. My son and I, we were vegan for about 5 or 6 years. And I changed over, but to be honest, I do not need meat in my diet. I can go without meat in my diet. But I think what people don't understand is the variety of choices of delicious foods that they have to eat, and they think for some reason, and I guess they equate being vegan with not having good food, not having flavorful food, and so that's it. So first, before we start on the vegan road to healthy eating, why don't you tell everybody about yourself, because they don't know you like I know you. Like, I know you could have chose to work for a Fortune 500 company and take over the world, and yet you are an entrepreneur, right? And you fought to be an entrepreneur and step out on your own and chase your passion, and you turned it into money maker.
Well, the main goal isn't the money, and that's I think part of the reason why there's success is because I'm not motivated by the money. I'm motivated by changing the world, saving the world. Actually, is more so the motivator, because if we don't start taking care of ourselves, take care of the planet, and take care of the animals that we live on this planet with, we're not going to have a planet. It's just not going to last.
You need to say that one more time, please.
I'll go in a different direction. If we kill the bees, we don't live. And there are bee populations that are going extinct. And if we kill all the bees off this planet, you know what bees do? They pollinate. And we don't have food if we don't pollinate. So if we kill off the bees, we kill off the humans. And if that's not a motivator, well, let's look at weather. If that's not a motivator as well, the really, really wacky weather that we've had, that's called climate change. And one of the major impactors on the planet and climate change is animal agriculture. So what can we do to make a change with that? And is, stop eating animals. But as for me, in 2014, I decided to talk to the community about creating a vegan festival in the Triangle. And they overwhelmingly were like, yeah, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So in about 4 months, we created Triangle Veg Fest and had our first festival and had 2,000 people attend at Carolina Pines Park, which we outgrew as soon as we started. And then it's kind of moved around and, you know, Triangle Veg Fest was at Moore Square. It was in downtown Raleigh. Then it moved to Durham at the Armory. And then COVID and had smaller events. And we've had monthly markets. And then it grew to Wilmington. And then it grew to Asheville. Then it grew to Nashville, Tennessee, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee,
Wow.
Greenville, and Columbia, South Carolina. And now we took over Atlanta. So we have Georgia Veg Fest. So all in all, we have seven solid cities for 2022 for our vegan festivals. And oh, thanks, Donna. That's awesome. I can do this part because it is on my own. I'll help you out, Tracy. So yeah, we we it just keeps growing. If someone offers me their festival, I don't say no,
So,
and we just you know keep doing events, and we produce vegan festivals. Which, if you came to our festival, it would look like any festival that you went to. There's food, and there's there's a lot of people selling products. The only difference is that it's all vegan, so no animals were harmed
right.
at our event. Like nothing, everything's vegan down to the sugar. So, and this has been amazing. It's been
So,
absolutely amazing.
so what do you think? Well, let me ask you this: do you believe that it's a like more of a movement or a culture, or like why do you think it's spreading? Because I know people that I grew up with. I can tell you a number of people that I personally know that have switched over and are very, very satisfied with their options of what to eat and their health changes. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I can't promote, what it does, but I've seen a reverse in diabetes, high blood pressure, swelling, eyesight, hair growth, nail growth, like unbelievable digestion. I mean, and this is, and they wouldn't do anything, wouldn't change it for the world right now.
You feel great.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
why do you
just
think? I mean, people are changing over. I know those are benefits, but it seems like it just grew so suddenly. Like it's so popular now, where you never really heard about being a vegan prior to maybe, let's say, going on 10 years, maybe.
it's 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 been an interesting world when it went mainstream. When Burger King came out with a vegan Whopper,
Um,
and Kentucky Fried Chicken has vegan chicken fingers. I mean, never in the day that us vegans ever feel like it would be so mainstream. And now it is. So it's in people's faces all the time. And then a Beyond Burger and Impossible Burger created their products not for vegans. They created the products for people like you who are saying like, I still want to eat meat, or I don't really want to eat meat, but I kind of like the taste, or I miss the whatever it is you miss about it. And you can have a product that has no cholesterol, has lower in fat, is healthier for you, healthier for the environment, especially healthy for the animals. And you can still get the sort of similar feel and texture and taste that you're used to, and in a healthier product. Healthier, I
yes.
put in quotes because it's still a processed food, but it's definitely better than eating a hamburger that comes from a cow or a pig or whatever, a chicken. It definitely is better than that. So it's I think that's part of the reason it's mainstream. Veganism is mainstream, and it's important because we're both from New York. So I'm going to use New York as an example. New York just had that crazy storm. So the storm that started in the south and then like went up to New York and caused all that flooding. Those poor people died in their basements, and New York is like just flooded
Mm.
this year. And the words started coming out of the politicians' mouths of climate change, but they followed it up with infrastructure. And I'm sorry, but infrastructure is not going to help fix the problem. It's a band-aid. Because, yeah, you can build higher retaining walls, you can figure out how the subways won't flood, but until we fix the climate issue, the climate's only going to get worse and worse, and New York is just going to keep flooding and flooding, and people are going to be dying and dying. And of course, people don't really want to look at climate change because what has to happen is you, as an individual, need to make changes, and people
Changing
don't
your
like to do that.
lifestyle.
You have to
That's
change
right.
your lifestyle in order to save the planet. And you have a kid, right? So your kids, you'll have a grandchild one day, right? So you have family that you want them to live. You want them to have a planet to live on.
And,
And
be, and
that's
not
not
just live,
incentive
but have
enough.
a quality of life for generations to come. You're right. I mean,
Right. Without having to not be able to step outside because it's too hot.
mm,
Because we're experiencing some of that. Not being able to, survive tornadoes.
mm,
I mean, you just have to turn on the news weekly to see what's going on, and we've lived long enough to go, well, yeah, there's been tornadoes. People are like, there's always been tornadoes. Yes, and there's always been fires. There's
or,
been forest fires. There's always been forest fires, and there's always been drought, and there's always been torrential rain. You're right, but it's happening now more often,
right,
and we see it like all the time. Let's see what Don said. Watch for the mainstream. Watch for the mainstream that is vegan only and name only, but highly processed engineered food. I think plant based is a good start. 100% agree with you, Donna. That plant based is the way to go.
mm,
And of course, people like to have a brownie, like to have like an Impossible Burger, Beyond Burger,
right,
but that's not your daily meal. That's just like, don't eat like steak every day or meat every day. Don't eat Beyond Burgers every day because that's unhealthy either.
right,
But whole food, plant based. Eat potatoes. Eat rice. Eat whole food, whole grain breads. Eat pasta, whole grain pasta. Eat nuts. Eat seeds in moderation. Eat vegetables and fruits because you know what's vegan? Every fruit and every vegetable on the planet.
right. And
Don't cook it with meat or butter. But
I do, I 100% agree about not, you don't need it and the one ingredient foods, because one of the things about the stress that I had as an entrepreneur is I had high blood pressure, and it shot up so high from the stress because I would work late, grab some fast food on the way in, completely ignored my kitchen and my one food home cooked meals where I could look at the salt, my check my salt intake and everything. When the processed foods, even the vegan processed foods, you have to flip the label over and look and see that it might be plant based, but it's sodium. It's there's a lot of sodium in it. So I agree with you when you say, you know, eat these one ingredient foods and find a way to just kind of mix them together and make meals. But you're going to talk about that a bit. You'll get to the goodie part. Then we're going to really bring them over. Like we're right now, we're scaring them. It's like I was getting ready to say. It's like we're going to talk about the doom and the gloom, and then we're going to bring them over with the glory of the great food.
yeah, I always said that the vegan food is the gateway drug to veganism. Food is the gateway drug to veganism because once you taste food that tastes good, then it's easy to say, okay, I'll eat that.
Right.
Because anything you can eat, anything, and I can make anything vegan. Anything you eat, I can make vegan at this point. Like
Macaroni and cheese. Macaroni and
I'm
cheese.
macaroni and cheese is like my 15-minute meal. I can make macaroni and cheese in 15 minutes. And it's so good. It might be dinner tonight because you have to do all soft foods. So it might be dinner tonight. So yeah, macaroni and cheese is easy and it's so good. We actually I host a macaroni and cheese, a vegan mac and cheese cook off, typically annually, but COVID.
Right.
So it's a better indoor event than an outdoor event. And it's a food socialization thing with COVID. It's not
Right.
conducive to people wearing masks and social distancing. It's more like people in each other's faces talking and eating, and that concerns me. So we didn't do it this year, almost did. But it's a really fun event because we bring professional chefs, like restaurants, in to bring in their mac and cheese recipe, and the public votes on that to see who has the
Oh,
best one. Like Pure Soul has been in the top one or two where they're in Durham. Pure
mm.
Soul Vegan is in Durham like every time they've entered. So they've got a great mac and cheese recipe, gluten
Wow.
free and with gluten.
Do they
So
have to? Do they have to show you what what the ingredients are, so you can make sure that they're not like cheating with like.
I do ask for the ingredients, but I also trust my chefs. I trust them, dude, because they're vegan themselves.
Started any trouble with
So
the vegetable, but I just asking.
if it's someone I don't know, I definitely drill down into what the recipe is. But Donna said sugars and salt is highly snuck into foods. Oh, it's no joke. Sugar, salt, corn
Corn.
is
Well, I
yeah,
can eat corn. I can't.
a lot of the allergens, soy, peanuts. I mean, a lot of allergens are snuck into foods. I mean,
Yeah.
sugar and salt's a big one because it adds the flavors that people end up craving more and more of, which makes you eat more and more of them, which makes you sicker and sicker. So when you cook for yourself, you're better off because you'll use less sugar and salt, hopefully, when you're cooking for yourself, because you really don't need a lot of it if you can change your palate.
Right, and I know that my mom. I remember she was very holistic growing up, and that we're talking like, I'm in my 50s, so she really was about that life, and she would say that sugar will change your personality, will change your the way your brain processes, and that you can get addicted, but it can also I'm sorry, you can definitely get addicted, but getting off of it can actually fix some other problems like with temper, sleeplessness, things like that. So, first of all, sidebar, real quick. Why do you have the most beautiful skin ever? Like, it's like, I know you don't go around with the makeup and all that, but my lord, I just almost want you to tell people like how old you are and like how your skin is glowing.
Oh, thank you. Well, it helps I have lights. I have a full setup because I also do a live show. So it's also sometimes not fair for people who come on and have like a Zoom meeting with me. They're like, "Whoa." And I was like, "Look, I have like the 1080 camera, I have the lights, I have the green screen." So it's not a fair comparison to most people, but I just turned 52
Mm.
4 days ago. And I the genes I've been blessed with from my parents. My oldest brother is going to be 50. He'll be 63 next year,
Mm.
and I feel like he looks great for being 63. So they just I feel like part of it is our genetics, and I feel like a big part of it is that I have been vegan for 10 years. I was vegetarian for 20 plus years prior to that, and I exercise, I take care of myself, and
And you have
but
beautiful babies, the beautiful doggy babies.
my three dogs and my two cats, yeah, they're not in the room because if they were in the room, one, they'd be barking, and two, there'd be a cat walking across the keyboard. So it's not going to happen. And then Donna said she had a detox from sugar firsthand. It was it's so hard. Very
It
first
is.
4, it's
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got to go off track, but definitely, yes, sugar. You crave it. It is a Jones.
oh
That-
gosh, I know because I'm probably addicted to sugar. So it's and was I found I cut out sugar, like processed sugar. I'd cut out processed sugar, but I want more bread, which is
right,
sugar.
right. In terms of
So
sugar, oh my God, I went on an English muffin kick because I detoxed and I can't remember what I ate, but it triggered it. And I was just eating like an English muffin 3 times a day. It was not, and then I was like, what was the point of all of that? But you're right, it triggered it. If I had stayed away from the bread or the carbs and the sugar, that's not a really good food to eat. I probably would have been okay and wouldn't have gained back 7 pounds. But there we are.
I believe me, I understand. There's a lot of really amazing vegan foods locally and all over the country. 'Cause, we travel a lot, and just locally, there's amazing stuff that can keep people quite satisfied, from soul food to gourmet food like the Fiction Kitchen, which went all vegan over during like COVID. Like they
What
went
what?
all vegan this year. The
What?
Fiction Kitchen is in downtown Raleigh.
Oh,
They
okay.
were vegetarian vegan, and they quietly switched over to 100% vegan, which the community, since they opened, was really like wanting them to do. And I was just happy that they were vegan restaurant with like some vegetarian offerings, and now they're 100% vegan, and that's right downtown Raleigh, in downtown in on Dawson Street, and
Oh,
it's an incredible restaurant. It's more gourmet-ish type food, and they, got through COVID, which is important. And I mentioned Pure Soul, they're in Durham, they're soul food. And you've got Earth to Us, vegan comfort food. So they're in Durham and in Raleigh Cary. And there's so many restaurants. You got Pure Vegan Cafe, which is in Cary and in Raleigh now, in North Raleigh on Creedmoor, which is closer to us, which made me really happy. And I'm just kind of like trying to remember all the names of all the vegan restaurants that we have, because we have so many.
I did not. I don't know why I'm not aware of that. So now I know to look because I thought there were like two or three, but my goodness. So is this like, I don't want to call it a trend, but it seems like this has been happening over the past 5 years. The
Oh
actual
yeah.
restaurants are opening, and it's okay. All right.
Yeah, I'd be remiss to say Plant Cakes Bake Shop in Wake Forest is a 100% vegan bakery,
Mm.
which is the only 100% vegan storefront bakery in the Triangle, and they're amazing. Which is also way too close because it's 10 minutes from my
Is that where
house.
the birthday cake was?
That is who made my birthday cake, which
Oh
was,
wow.
let me tell you the secret to that cake, because it was a chocolate peanut butter cake, chocolate cake with peanut butter frosting, and then just like chocolate ganache on top of it. I put it in the microwave for 15 to 30 seconds.
Mhm.
And Steven's wondering when he's going to get another cake, because it was a game changer. Put your cake in the microwave for 15 to 30 seconds and it gets gooey, almost like a brownie, and the cake gets warm like it's fresh out of the oven, and the frosting kind of melts a little
Please
bit.
stop.
And it was unbelievable. And of course, they're amazing at Plain Cakes. So that's Jess and Mark. They own Plain Cakes and they're amazing. So and then of course downtown there's another vegan restaurant that opened called Elements Gastropub. So there's just, and I know I'm forgetting, like Eden's Vegetarians and in Garner, and he does like a buffet and you can take out, and he's been around for a long time. And then Triangle Vegetarian Society is run by Dillip, and that's a vegan organization that you can join. That's the largest vegan Thanksgiving in the country in Durham every year.
Oh, I've heard about, yeah, a lot of
With
people attend that. They love it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I tell people, like, I lived in California, I lived in New York, and I went vegan in North Carolina, which
Of
is
all places.
of all places, right?
Everybody, if you've lived in New York and you've lived in California, you do understand that going vegan down south, where the king of pork, the pork, the
Mhm.
ribs and pork steak and everything,
Yep.
right?
This
Wow.
this is where I met the people that helped facilitate the change. I was kind of like probably 85% there by the time I moved here.
That's kind of where I am
You know,
now.
no eggs, no dairy milk. That was all gone. And most people have a hard time. The two things, like someone asked me, like, why won't you go vegan? This is pretty early on when I moved here. I said, Parmesan cheese and whipped cream.
Mm.
Those were two things. You know, it's like amazing now. Violife makes a Parmesan cheese that's in like the triangle, like Parmesan is, and that you can grate,
Mm.
on your own.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And there's vegan whipped cream is plenty. So there's and I don't eat them all the time, so it's not like I'm eating whipped cream like all the time. but but the fact is I can if I want to, because I can either make it myself out of coconut cream. I could buy it from the store, just like Ready Whip. They've got oat milk and almond milk and I think coconut milk, like Ready Whip type vegan whipped cream.
And for our ice cream lovers, they have it too, the same plant-based cream type things. I'm just throwing that out there because I found that out by accident, but yum yum. So
No, there's tons of ice creams. Hi Susan, glad Susan's here. She's part of our team. And it's ridiculous like how much there is. I make ice cream. I have an ice cream maker. I have like every appliance probably quite possible. I have very few I don't have in the house that I can cook and make foods. I make my own milk now. I make my own cashew milk. With
oh,
COVID, I wasn't going to the store. I was
mm,
having things delivered, so I bought an almond cow, which is a plant-based milk maker, and
okay.
it's amazing. So I was making almond milk and coconut almond cashew milk, and I've kind of settled on cashew milk because I have no byproduct. I can use the whole thing, and
Uh-huh.
I can turn everything into milk, so I don't throw anything away. So
Wow. Oh my God. I'm learning so much. Thank you. Go ahead. I'm listening. And I have a
yes,
question when you finish making my stomach growl from like now I'm sitting here going, where can I go? So I have to get in the car, drive somewhere. I have to like find
believe me, I'm hungry too. So I look forward to like eating dinner tonight. But yeah,
so
there's just no shortage of
just
food. And as someone who like works for yourself, right?
mm,
I think one of the hardest things, as I struggle with this, one of the hardest things is I'll be working, especially when I get into busy season. Like now it's slow, but when things start to like really ramp up, I just keep working, right? I don't stop to eat. And then when I stop to eat, I'm normally starving. And when
right,
you're starving, you grab, you don't prepare.
right,
And I'm not one to pre make meals typically. I will sometimes make dinner and then there'll be leftovers from dinner. But
right.
I also have a partner that likes to eat in the middle of the night. So I might not be there the next day. Steve will hate me for saying that, but he does. Everyone knows that. So
Yeah.
I sometimes I have to say, I want that, don't eat all that because I want that for tomorrow. And he will leave stuff for me, like he knows that I really love. And funny thing is the opposite. I'll leave stuff for him and he won't eat it because he thinks I want, the whole relationship thing.
Uh,
So, but you know, you need to it take being healthy takes work.
it does. It's a mindset change, and so just real quick, I have a quick question, and then I'm going to ask you about your pink or your blues first, and then your
Mhm.
pink about being an entrepreneur and being in charge or helping create this whole community. I mean, seriously, you were on the ground floor when this and look at like you said, it's gone mainstream. So I just want to know, can you name a few sweeteners that we can use instead of sugar? Because I think
Hmm.
I've tried date sugar before. Well, it's made from dates, I believe.
It's date syrup. Do you like it?
A little bit. I did
Okay.
in certain things I did, but not in everything.
It's not my favorite. The date syrup's not my favorite. I have like cases of it in the storage unit. We were donated some, and I have some in the house. So it wasn't my favorite, but for each their own. I love dates, but don't
Me
necessarily
too.
like them in a syrup. So as for an alternative to processed sugar in what you're making, I would go with organic maple syrup. I would go with organic agave, right? There's brown rice syrup as well.
I didn't know that.
There's a syrup that I got from Whole Foods a while ago. It's my New York accent comes out when I say it. It's sugar. I don't know how to say it. It's like Sugahh, whatever it is. But that's a syrup that's amazing. I'll make caramel corn with it. It's absolutely
Mm,
incredible. But my go-to sweetener with things would either be agave or maple syrup, as opposed to processed sugar. When I make ice cream, maple syrup goes in there, not sugar. And I use organic cane sugar if I'm going to use sugar,
mm,
but I kind of go the other way. Like I don't put that. Like if I'm making bread, I may put some sugar in it because the yeast needs the sugar to feed off of to make the
right,
bread.
right.
So I may put some in there, but also with maple syrup. And if you're not fully vegan, oh, brown coconut sugar. Thanks, Susan.
Okay.
So right, there's coconut sugar, there's beet sugar, there's other sugars as well out there. And if you're not, depending on where you're at, you can do local honey as well, depending on who you are. It's not considered vegan because of the animals, because of the
Right,
bees,
because
but
right.
if you're transitioning and you're like, I can't give up. If like I don't feel like honey's going to be like the worst thing in the world. That if I mean, honey is medicinal, and in my opinion, honey is medicinal. So that's a whole other topic, but it could get me in a lot of trouble. I can talk about that on the vegan stew. So
All right, so just real quick, so I'm gonna get your. I'll start with the blues. So a blue is making that transition into an entrepreneur. We all have a story to tell. We might have more than one, but I have like 17, but but I'm sure you can pick just one and tell everyone. And then I want you to tell us what the pinks are, the high points, the best time that you've had being an entrepreneur. So it kind of balanced it out or washed away the blues, so to speak.
It's interesting because I feel like one of the hardest things about what I do is people. And I mean, I've been blunt about this, and Susan knows I'll be blunt about this. I've spoken about it on the Vegan Stew and Virtual Veg Fest Live. Is people, and not the businesses, not the business people that I work with, because I love them. It's the public, and you work with the public.
Please, all right. Because yes, go ahead. I'm listening.
It's hard. It's really hard. I've been bashed publicly. I mean, I wish we lived in a world where when people are successful or heading towards success or doing good things, and that people would work on building them up as opposed to trying to smash them down. And we kind of live in this world where more people don't like seeing other people have success. They want people to be on, I guess, wherever they're at in their worlds. And for a lot of people that's not a good place.
Right.
But come on. I want people to we need to, especially in a community like the vegan community where we're fighting to save the planet, we're fighting to save animals, we're fighting to help people be healthier with what they're doing. And then we just all start, and not me, but jealous. Thanks, Susan. They just start backstabbing, and they just do nasty, mean things. Oh, you're not, or what you're doing isn't good enough, or how could you have Whole Foods as a sponsor, or how can you, there's always like, why this, how this, don't eat that, this isn't healthy, don't eat a Beyond Burger, don't eat Possible, don't tell people this. I mean, it's stressful, it's frustrating, and I sleep well at night. I put my head down. I know what I'm doing is for the best and for the good. I
Right.
work every day to make a difference.
Right.
And I know that there's going to be crap and there's going to be stuff like shit thrown at me. And it's okay.
Right.
because
Right.
because you can't do anything in this world. You can't do any good in this world without somebody being a naysayer or being like an asshole towards you.
Since the beginning of time, it's
Yep.
just that way. It seems like that's the way the human brain kind of works. And I don't know that, today I listened to this some talk show, and they were talking about the cancel when they try to cancel someone now, this cancel, and it was it's just a thing that people do. They look for something to be wrong so that they can have more to talk about. And and they say that all attention, or is good attention, or if you're trying to go public with something or whatever, and the bashing and all that stuff. But it seems like it's a waste of energy. But if this is what, and I know you know this, you're going to keep it moving because you have a mission. So nothing's going to stop you anyway. But you would love it for it to be a better world where people could learn how to appreciate the good that you're actually doing. Even if they don't agree or participate or join in, they can still appreciate it. But I hear you on the blue. That is across the board in any for me in construction and real estate, it's the same thing. You can do anything you could. Well, we know real estate. You could do everything right, and they're gonna still try to cancel, still try to do it. So that is a blue. You are 100% correct.
Yeah, and it's the vegans more than it's the general public. I mean, the
Wow.
general public, I just dismiss them because they're just coming from an ignorant place when they make stupid comments.
Wow.
But the
My
vegans
girl wins.
are more so the or pain in the ass at times. And it's funny, Donna said, but no one complains about beer festivals. I promise you,
Wow.
those organizers have people complaining because you do not produce any type of festival without complaints. Someone is complaining about why don't you have this beer or why did you have this one? Why
Uh-huh.
does it cost so much? I
Mm,
promise you, that organizer of that event has people. The week after a festival tends to be for a lot of organizers like the most depressing week because out of the woodworks comes all these people that start complaining and trashing what you just
really?
spent a year on.
Wow.
You just killed yourself to put this festival together, and then people, all they do is nitpick and pick on it and say terrible things. I've been very fortunate the last few years that I've gotten more praise afterwards
Mm,
than negative, which, phew. And I need to hear what people feel so I can get through it and get to the constructive part so we can improve the events,
right.
as opposed to the why wasn't there water there, and it's like there was water there, you just didn't find it.
Mm, yes.
So I can't help you if you never made it to every vendor.
Right.
because it was there. I was like, what?
So
I,
what would be
you know,
what? So what would be your piece? Like, what's the? I guess what's the rainbow or the sunshine part of this? Besides the fact that it's your passion and you're saving the world, what else is it?
that's a big part of it.
Right.
I I think one of the most awesome things about doing this is I'll give a story from at the armory. One of the Durham city of Durham workers, because they always had to be there at the event. So of course, when you're working the event, you kind of walk around, and then when you're walking around, it's vendors, so you end up talking to people, and then you know the next event, she worked that event too, and she came up to me and she said, I watched a movie and like a documentary, and I'm going to make changes with my life because I want to be alive for my child, because I have high blood pressure and that I need to make changes. And the event is what
Wow.
precipitated the event, was the catalyst, because she would never probably have attended a vegan festival, but she had to work it, and working it, she literally worked it. She went
Right.
around and talked to people, ate some food,
Mm-hmm.
and learned. I gave her a big hug, seeing that, knowing learning those stories, seeing the changes. Oh, I mean, knowing that with every person that comes to that event that day and eats a vegan meal for either breakfast, lunch, dinner, if it's all three, if you spend the whole day, that you've saved a piece of the planet, you've saved animals, you've made a difference in your health
Right.
just by changing over that meal.
Wow.
That is, I mean, it's one of the coolest things on the planet when you do something, you're passionate about it, you can make money at it, and you're making a difference at the same time. And I literally live to help. And I do that for the vendors. I help them market. I help them with whatever I can help them with. It goes beyond just come to the event and give me money. It
Right.
goes way beyond that.
Right.
I will bend over backwards and kill myself for our vendors. They are family.
And I can feel you through. I get goosebumps. I'm seeing. I'm like, I'm trying out the crickets. I feel my heart is like, I know you mean it, and
Yep.
that's what it's about. I mean, that's the whole point. You step out on faith with your passion, with something inside of you that tells you that you need, and it drives you to it, and then you work it with passion, with love, trying to help other people, trying to save other people. That's what it's about. Um, and that's what I want people to understand. I want them to see you as this entrepreneur, and this is the way the entrepreneur lifestyle mindset is. It works this way. Now, not for everyone, but we're going to bring those people over too from the dark side. Okay, so I am just if you had one piece of advice to give to an entrepreneur, we'll say an entrepreneur, um, just across the board, what would that be?
Every single day, every single day, do something for you. Do
Mm.
not work 100% of the time. Every day. I don't care what it is. Playing on the floor with the dogs, big one for me. Watching General Hospital, going for a walk, something other than working. Take a break. A not eating break. Like, you have to eat. So those are your, a lot of people are eating and working. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking you need to take moments for yourself every single day, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's hour, whatever it is. Scroll through Facebook, go into like nowhere land, do whatever it is, take a nap, do something for yourself every single day. It'll repower you. And it's important because you matter. You kind of forget about you when when you work for yourself, because there's no boss telling you to like go home. There's no boss that says go on vacation. These are things that you have to do for yourself. I don't care if you need to put it on your calendar and schedule it every single day. Do it.
Wow, that awesome piece of advice. I swear, thank you so much. I'm going to actually take that and use that in an ad because it's very important. Okay, so we're about to wrap it up. I have to say that this was amazing for me.
Thank you.
I learned a lot. I definitely have to have you come back on. Maybe we can do something live when you're actually doing an event and have people come in if that's possible. I will figure it out because I'm sure it is. I definitely need some macaroni and cheese from that place. I need that.
Mhm.
And I want to thank you so much. I feel really great about this. Is there anything else you need to say before we sign off?
No, thank you, Tracy. I really appreciate that you reached out to do this and that we got it to work. I love that Donna said to hug a tree. We're taking this every positive notes is amazing, and this season walks to shift our mindset. I mean, it's. I know that Susan does that because when she traveled with us for 19 days in October, she went on a walk often, especially when we were in Chattanooga, because it was a perfect neighborhood for
I
going for a
love
walk.
Chattanooga. Yes.
We're big fans, and that was where we stayed. It was a perfect location for like walking. The houses were like from the 1800s, so you saw like this cute community, and you just like looked at the restored houses, the ones that were like decrepit, and everything in between. So we had a great time, and that's I started walking. I found a cat. It's a whole thing. So because that's what happens when you go out, cats come running up to you. So but Tracy, thank you. I mean, I could,
Oh,
like I
you're
said, look, we're at 41, 42 minutes. There's, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and we could just go on and on because I know that there's so much more information, but we'll get to it. And in the meantime, I am going to. In January, I think I'm going to start a new lifestyle. I mean, I've done it before, so it shouldn't be that hard to make that transition. I don't know, but I'll let you know if I'll call you and cry, and you'll be like my sponsor.
I'm happy to do that. January is Veganuary, and you can sign up for Veganuary at veganuary.com. I think it is. I don't think it's .org, but it might be dot. They should have both if they don't. So
Okay.
veganuary.com, and you can sign up to take the pledge to go vegan for the month of January.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure that probably some of the local restaurants will do something to highlight Veganuary. I can't forget Coco in Chapel Hill, another brand new vegan bistro that opened in Chapel Hill. They were so there's so many. I
So
have this Soul Cocina Triangle. You can order from her vegan flavor in Chapel Hill. I mean, there's just
we need a
yeah,
list. We need a list of I need to get a list and post it to my Facebook page. And I'm going to say sign up for V January.
Veganuary.
I'm going to sign up. I'm going to take the pledge. I can do it for 30 days, and then I can make the decision whether I'm going to cross over from the dark side. Okay.
Awesome. That's
All right.
fantastic. So I can let me see. I can do that. There you
Oh,
go. Veganuary.
oh, great. Cool beans. See,
that was
everybody?
that was
All
part of
right.
the show.
All right, Helene. Well, I'll speak to you soon. Thank you so much.
Okay, sounds great. Have a good night.
You too. Bye, everybody. Thank you
Bye.
for joining. Bye. Bye.